Okay, so good morning, and this is Testament Base. And Yashkar Pinchas for yesterday's year. The list of you that it was spoken about already, just to emphasize it again, that din of hidden mitzvah shlish. I think people understand that it means whatever you bought, then you buy another one for a shlish of what you bought. But not like that. It just means a shlish of the basic price. The difference between you go to the Mina market, what?
Inside or outside?
Yeah, that's a more question. I mean, inside or outside, but the inside outside of what? Not of the one that you bought. You go to the Esra, you go to buy an Esra, you get a beautiful one, 100 shekel, and then you're gonna add on another shlish, and then how about if you find a nicer one, another shlish? What does that mean? So I think the Pashup Shad, like Pinchas said yesterday, I wasn't here, but we spoke about it afterwards. That means of the basic price. Means you go to the Dalat Mina market, so you ask, what's the cheapest kosher without any hidur? That's the basic price. That's the baseline, and then you have to add on a shlish for the mitzvah of hidur. And then you want to do more. So the Gemara says, Mishal Kadosh Baruch Hu, but they didn't have shlish. People that's already they do hidur. Before they start, they look only for the huder. So, okay. But the din of shlish is a shlish more than the basic kosher, not muhudar. Tais talks about the size, muhudar, or you talk about other hidurim. But Tais is just saying an example of what's a hidur, the size. But the other hidurim also. So I think it's a misconception. I think people don't understand like that. Okay, new Mishnah. Kol shechafti b'shmirosach shati es nisko. The word testament base. It's good. Is the screen good? The word chafti seems to be like the Gemara said before, like it's a lishna klila, could have said chayafti, this chayafti. And it seems to be. So the point over here is that if I'm responsible to watch something and I didn't, so then if shati es nisko, I prepared the mazik, as if to say like I loaded the gun, right? I made it ready to go, and therefore you have to pay for it, which is going to be the end of the Mishnah. But it says that if you get maybe I don't know if it says the words exactly, but it says you have to pay if it was mazik. So there's a point here that says you have to watch something. The Mishnah beginning also, the first Mishnah said also Shmor Sayolecha, and maybe that is even the point of the Mishnah that since it's Darko Lahazik, you have to watch it. And now it says that if you have to watch it and you didn't, so you're considered the cause of the nezek. That's maybe a period over there.
It's like chayav.
Well, I think so. Rashi says this chayavti. There's another possibility. Maybe chafti b'shum ras means that I was negligent in watching it. We weren't sure about the translation. That is not a chiddush. Chachshati v'mixnas nisko chafti b'shum tashlum nisko kachshi kol nisko. That if even I just prepared part of the mazik means the Gemara is going to look for cases that I didn't do the whole problem. I did part of the problem. Sometimes doing part of the problem is equal to the whole problem. And even if you only were preparing, you prepared part of the mazik to be able to be mazik, but you're going to be chayiv for the payment of the whole damage as if you would have prepared the whole damage. Which the Gemara is going to look at cases. Find a case where you didn't do the whole thing, you just did some negligence by not watching it, and you chayiv the whole thing. Then it says a list of conditions in order to be chayiv. It's a very what's the word? Terse Mishnah. The words are very like codified. Nechasim shein ben meila, nechasim shein nehein shel b'nei bris, nechasim ham yuchadim. Maybe we'll put a period over there. That the conditions in order to be chayiv is if it's nechasim shein ben meila, that's not hektish. If it has meila means that it's something which is hektish, and if you're moil, you'd have to be chayiv and cover meila, etc. So only Yechayiv if it's a chasim she'ain b'amila, because if it will be hektish, it should be pater. If you mazik hektish, pater. We had a point about that. The shor re'eyu below shor hektish. So you pater if you mazik hektish. It has to be one condition that it shouldn't be hektish. Also, in the chasim she'ain shel b'nei bris, it has to belong to Jews. Jews l'cha b'nei bris means they're in the bris mila, and if they're out of the bris means you mazik property of a guy. So you're not mechuyev. That's what it says. And the chasim ham yuchadim means that it has a specific owner, but it doesn't have an owner. If it was Hefker, maybe. So then you put there. Of course you put there. If it's Hefker, who are you going to pay if it's Hefker? That might need explanation. What's the chiddush that you put there? Does Rashi say anything over here? Nechasim sheyesh lam bailim afuke Hefker. Okay. If you mazik Hefker, of course you put there. Nobody's going to demand you. So that needs explanation still. So we had three conditions of what kind of property it has to be. It has to be ein b'meila, b'nei bris, and miyuchadim. Now it talks about where are you mazik that you're chayiv. Uv'chol makom you're chayiv wherever you're mazik. Chutz me'rishus ha'miyuchad, that's the mazik, and also Rishus hanizik v'amazik. If you damage in your own property, Rishus habichedes lamazik. It's a property which is designated only for you. It's your property, and you damaged in your own property somebody else. What are you doing there? Why are you coming to my property for? Also, even a bigger chiddush, Rishus hanizik v'amazik. If it's a joint property that both the nizik and the mazik have Rishus to come there, even though the nizik is allowed to come in. The first case was nizik wasn't allowed to come in. It's the mazik's property. Here the chiddush is even if the nizik has permission to come, but the mazik also has permission to come. So you can say, I had a right to be here. So if you have the shore that damaged another shore, one of them belongs to the mazik, one to the nizik. So he says, "What do you? Why are you mazik me? I belong here. Both it belongs to us. So you watch out that my shore shouldn't be mazik yours." I imagine the Gemara is going to talk about all these things, but in general, those are the titles of the Mishnah. And all this, the Mishnah ends off. Even though I made periods, I don't think it's periods. It's just like commas. And all this, mamish word for word from the first Mishnah, but there was maybe a continuation of the sentence before, and here's a continuation of this sentence. If there was mazik, thing that you were machshir nisko, chatzi nisko, mixas nisko, and it has all these conditions. So then, if it was mazik, the mazik has to pay. We said the word chav is lishna klila, so Yerushalmi talking Tani Yerushalmi, and it means he has to pay chayiv and mazik l'shalem the nezek b'meitav, which we spoke about meitav already. You pass like a bekiva meitav the mazik b'shalosh shaman. Okay, so we have the titles, and now we're going to go and analyze it more. So the first thing the Mishnah says, what about kol shechavti b'shmirosa shati es nitzka? If you prepared you didn't watch it well, and you're responsible to watch, so you prepared the mazik, and therefore you're going to be chayiv. And the Brisa says Ketzad. Means this was a quote from the Mishnah. The Brisa stuff was going on the Mishnah, and it says this halacha that I just said. Ketzad, what's going to be a case of that? Now, of course, a regular case doesn't need explanation. It's pashut. If you prepared the mazik, it's something you're mechuyev to watch, and you didn't watch it at all, so pashut yichayiv. So the Brisa is going to find the chiddush that you watched it a little bit, and it's still not enough. It's still going to be chayiv. The introduction to this Mishnah, to this Brisa, is a Mishnah later on Daf Nutes. Over there, it talks about that sometimes you're going to be potter for Aish, that you watched a little bit. There was some kind of a shmira that you're going to be potter, and here it's coming to say that amount that you potter over there, you are going to be chayiv over here. So the chavti b'shmiras or shati is going to be a chiddush that sometimes you watched it a little bit, and it might even be so much, so enough that by Aish it might be potter. But here it's going to say that shor and bor are going to be chayiv. A little introduction to what we're going to say now. Shor bor shemosman the cheshot of a katan beziku chayiv l'shalim. Mashenkein be'Aish. End of the brisa. That is going to be a case where shor bor that you gave over to someone that has no das. For example, cheshot of a katan. We'll talk about a katan just for instead of saying each time cheshot. You gave over a shor bor to a katan, and the shor was mazik. The shor and the bor were mazik. Chayiv l'shalim. That's included in the Mishnah that says that chshati b'shmirosa, chshati es nisko, chavti b'shmirosa, chshati es nisko. I did some kind of bit shmira. I didn't do good enough of a shmira, so I'm chayiv. It's even going to be a case, or this case that I gave it over to a katan.
That's called partial nesek.
You did. It means that you did partial shmira. You did a partial shmira, maybe. I'm saying wrong. I'm saying wrong.
Partial nesek, or you started the nesek.
I got mixed up because I'm saying the next part of the Mishnah where it says Chavti b'miksa, Shati b'mixnas niska. We're not going to that yet. That's going to be the next sugi. This sugi is about the first line of the Mishnah. Chavti b'shmiros or Shati is nisko. I prepared the mazik. I didn't. What does it mean? If I didn't do a good shmira, I'm considered that I prepared the mazik to be able to be mazik, and therefore I'm going to be chayiv. Yes.
Chayiv for shmira. Again, how's the Mishnah go?
Culture. This is the same words as the Mishnahs over here in the Brisa also. Culture chavti b'shmirasa.
Everything that I am obligated to watch it,
and I didn't.
Is not in there,
right?
And I didn't.
So I prepared the mazik, and preparing the mazik means I made it into a mazik. I made it into a mazik, like
because I didn't guard it.
By not guarding it, I made it into a mazik, and I'm going to be chayiv. And the Gemara wants to say some chiddush. Tell me a chiddush case. If it's not a chiddush, it's pasha.
Not locking the door to the corral.
Right.
That's
pasha. That's pasha.
Okay.
Well, he just left the shore to walk around, and that's sure you didn't watch it. But there must be even a chiddush case. See, the chiddush is that you gave it over to a katan, and you still chayiv, even though we do find sometimes that you potter. Mashain came be'esh means whatever chiddush we're going to say in this Mishnah, Raisa, so we're going to say that it only applies to a shore and a bor, but not to an eish. That chiddush case that we're looking for Doesn't apply to all the mazikim. It only applies to shor and bor in contrast to age.
So the Kiddush is here because if the cotton did it on his own without the father, then the father's not chayiv.
That you're not chayiv, right? You're not chayiv for the damages of a cotton, right? Right. You have to watch your dog. You don't have to watch your cotton.
That's right.
Right. And here the case is, but you gave it.
You gave it.
You gave it.
That's
You
the
gave
only
it.
reason.
I told the cotton to guard the boar.
Right.
Let's say, yeah, he said, watch it,
You watch it.
and
Whoops.
and
Next
then
thing
it was
you know,
mazik. Then they hear that you hear the sirens coming.
Right.
So we tell the father, or not after the father, whoever gave it over to the cotton, not after the father.
Yeah.
You're saying even the father. You're saying chiddush because you want to stress that a father's not chayiv for the damages of his son.
Right.
It's true. Okay, so here we have some chiddush. We don't know what it is yet. So really, there's a machlokas about this brisa, this the Mishnah on Daf Nun Tes, and the Gemara is going to bring down the machlokas, Chizkiah and Rish Lakish against Rabbi Yochanan, and that's what the Gemara is based on. That's going to be the continuation of the sugya. But my eskina, what is the case that for shor and bor yechayiv and for esha pater? Ilay b'shor kashur ubor mechusa. Was the shor tied up? The bor was covered up, and yechayiv. It says that you gave over the shor and bor to a katan to watch, and yechayiv, even though the shor was tied up and the bor was covered, and you gave it to a katan. It's the total katan stand over here, and it ended up being mazik, and you're going to be chayiv. What's going to be the contrast of the Brisa says Eish is butter, the Chavasagah Eish, Yecheles. You have to be all on the same standard. When you want to compare shor and bor against Eish, it has to be on the same standard. So you're saying that the shor was tied up, the bor was covered up, and the Eish also has to be a similar level. So it has to be that it was only a coal. A coal is not mazik on its own, only if it gets, what's the word?
Inflamed, becomes a flame.
Inflamed. Okay, bellowed, inflamed. So here we're talking about that it's not ready to be mazik. You have to have some more. The same way the shor has to get untied, the bor has to get uncovered, and the eish has to become inflamed in order to be mazik. So right now it's not inflamed. Right now it's only a coal, and we're going to say that eish is potter and shor and bor is chayiv. And the bor doesn't understand what's the difference between the two. If they're all the same level of being watched, you gave it over to the chayiv to bekatan. How come by shor and bor you're going to be chayiv, and by eish you're going to be potter?
I have a side question on the son of Yecheles.
Yes.
Didn't Moshe hurt his mouth with Yecheles?
It's going to be more like a bor. If you have something like that, it's going to be more like a bor.
So
But it's not. But I think maybe a bor. We're talking about age. So we're not talking about that. It was mazik.
If it's a Yecheles, then it's a boar.
I think so.
And if it's flame, then it's age.
If a little bit different. I meant to say that if it would be mazik by moving and then burning something, that's age. If it stayed stationary, and that's how it was mazik, even if it's a flame, someone fell into a flame, so that's more like a bor.
Steps on a coal.
Right. Or he steps on a flame, whatever. He went into that's mamish a bor. Doesn't make a difference if it's dug. The stationary mazik that he was mazik by being passive. So that's, I think, I'm not sure, but I think that would be considered a bor. But the case over here is that it did go. It was only a coal, and then it got inflamed, and then it went and was mazik, and it burnt down the field.
Yeah.
So it says for eish potter, and for bor, shor and bor, you're going to be chayiv.
That doesn't make sense.
And why should there be a difference? What's the difference between shor and bor chayiv and eish potter? The Mara said that this one doesn't understand. The other side means that they're all going to be on a more lively, more aggressive state. Shor mutar doesn't mean permissible. Mutar means untied, like matir asura. And bor megula, the bor is uncovered, and you gave it to the shor, to the kecher certificate, and therefore you are chayiv, because you gave him an unwatched bor, and he's not capable of watching it, even though he says I'll watch it, but he's not capable, and therefore you're chayiv. Now what's going to be the comparison? The parallel to Beish, the Chavasagah Beish Shal Heves is going to be a flame that's ready to be mazik. And by what are you going to say? That shor and bor is chayiv and eish is potter. Mashen came Beish the potter. Why? Eish is going to be potter. So the Gemara doesn't ask why. The Gemara doesn't ask Ma'ishnacha. For some reason, the Gemara doesn't understand why eish should be potter. Here we do understand. The Kasha L'chorah would be the same thing as before. Ma'ishnacha. What's different? What's the difference? But the Gemara doesn't ask it that way. It asks a little different. That it's not true because Rish Lakish, Mishmei the Chizkiah, like the name just
What does Masha in mean?
It means what's going to be the end of the sentence. The Brisa says over here, Masha came Beish. The Brisa itself says, here it says Masha came Beish. This is a quotation from the Brisa that this is not so. It's not so. Why? As opposed to Masha came.
So this is like sarcastic or something?
No, it's like a quote. Masha came Beish.
Yeah,
what
no,
are you
but then it's the putter. That's going to be.
That's what you mean to say. You say that Mashen is butter, even though it was a shalhevis, even though it was a flame. That's what you're saying,
That's
right?
ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, so you could ask, like you're saying,
Like,
Ma'ishnacha,
sarcastically.
or no, it's not yet. The Gemara is not, and even before when the Gemara said Ma'ishnacha, just about to explain to me the difference. How come by when it's tied? So really, here the Gemara could have asked maybe that it's the same thing. Ma'ishnacha. Tell me the difference. If all of them are loose, it's a loose shore and it's an uncovered bore and it's a shalevis, they should all be the same. Either all chayv or pater. The Gemara could have asked that, but the Gemara goes straight to the opinions now. Lo shanu v'elashamasa lo gecheles v'liba. The word liba means to inflame it, to bellow it. Aval shal, actually, the word probably had labas eish. The word laba maybe has goes with that. Aval shal heves chayev. My timer the bori leka. So the Gemara here brings an opinion already. This is going to be Rish Lakish. It's going to be Mishmei Chizkiya. We can call it the whole name by name. This is the first opinion on that halacha. So he says on that rice or Mishnah later on, the Chnun test where it says that Eish is Potter, you gave over Eish to a Chershet of a Kotan, and it says your Potter, he says Dafka if you gave over a Gechelas, Dafka like the first time that the Gemara said it was a Gechelas, it was a coal, and then the coal wasn't able to be mazik the way it was, and the Chershet of a Kotan, and he bellowed it and made it into a flame, and that's why you are Potter by Eish.
Because he bellowed it.
Right.
Liba is the
Kotan.
The Kotan.
And this last to be explained means we're not getting any place because that's the first side, but let's say the second side is wrong. We have two sides over here. One, but let's to maybe to get some color over here. We had one side to say shor kosher bar mechusa, and that also would have been gachelas. On that would have been the parallel. The other one, the other side was going to be that it's a shor muter bar megula, and it's going to be a shalheves. It will be up by yesh.
In the first case, the shore.
The shore was tied and the bore was covered, and the fire was a gechelas.
We said those were chayav.
Those were chayav, and the ish was potter. And the Gemara what's the difference?
Yeah, and so now I don't understand much Lakish because it also seems like he blew it into a flame and he uncovered the bore.
Right. And the Gemara asked the kasha. The Gemara did ask the kasha. But first, the Gemara could have said, and this one also, Ma'ishnacha, in the case of a shor mutter and bor megula, untied shore and an uncovered bore and a flame. And it says that even though they all seem to be dangerous the way it is, and shor and bor is chayv and shlavas is potter, and also we'd ask what's the difference. But the Gemara already got to the opinions and says Rish Lakish and the name of Chizkiya says this is the right pshat, the green. That's the pshat in the Mishnah over there, and the rice over here, and it has to be explained Ma'ishnacha. But instead of just asking Ma'ishnacha, the Gemara says Chizkiya, you say that the case is the green case. So tell me, not the blue case. Okay, it's not the blue case, but it's the green case. So what's the difference? For Aga, when Rish Lakish, the name of Chizkiya says that this case will be chayiv, the shalheves would be chayiv. He says the reason is because bari azeka. The word bari azeka means that it's surely going to be mazik. It's only to be mazik. There's more later on.
It's created.
No. The word bari is like I don't think so. No. I understand what you mean. That the word bari means healthy. Created. Oh, it means created to be borei. But it's
the bore is created to damage, and now that it's shalheves, it's created to damage.
But I think it's definitely going to be mazik, like bari v'shema, bari yodif. It means when someone is definite. The bari azeka means it's definitely going to be mazik. It's
the shalheves.
The shalheves, right? So therefore, Rish Lakish says, Rish Lakish and Chizkiya say that the case of shalheves would be chayiv by yesh. And so when the Brisa says Ma'ashen Kein Be'esh, it wasn't referring to shalheves. So that's how the Gemara presents the question. If you say that it's a tight shore, covered bore, and a gecheles, we don't understand the difference. And that's what Chizkiya says that is what the Brisa says. So we're asking, you have to explain how come it's a shor kosher and gecheles is a difference. The Gemara says shor muter bar and a shalheves. You also have to ask what is the difference. But the Gemara says that they said that's not the case. Soon we're going to have that. Rabbi Yochanan says it is the case. We're going to have soon somebody else. We're not going to erase this case of the blue because it is going to be an opinion. But so far we're focusing on Rish Lakish, the name of Chizkiya, that says that this is the case. The shor kosher bar mechusa, that's going to be chayiv, and the chelas is going to be potter. So that's what the Gemara goes on that path. The one that says with chayiv is that the shore was tied and the bore was covered, and you gave it to a katan and you chayiv. And the parallel case by fire would be that it's a coal, and that's why Chizkiya says you potter because you gave him a coal. And the question is, what's the difference? With the comment, you can't show us what's the difference. How come shore and bor you are going to be chayiv? The answer is shore dakel and tuke, bor dakel and ture, but gacheles come with the shavik lam amya vazna. That's the answer. The shore, that's the translation first. The shore, its way is, its nature is that it breaks out. It's being tied. The bor, it's its derech that the cover should fall off. But a gecheles, the more that you leave it, it dims down more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Period. That's the answer. So we go back and we go now in the green case, because that's how they explain the Mishnah and the Brisa, that there's a gecheles that you give it to a cheshire to cut and you putter. Why? Because it left on its own.
It's less dangerous.
Less dangerous than what?
And the board.
And the shore, left alone. If you leave it alone, if no one messes with it, the gecheles is not going to damage. It's going to even extinguish eventually. The shore that you leave eventually is going to break out, and the board that you leave is also going to eventually get untied, even without the chayv of a cutter. Not that they messed it up. The fact that they were mazik, they're not considered. They're seemingly not considered a good shmira.
So it seems like inherently the shore and the board, they had no shmira at all.
It would have been mazik.
They also would have mazik, and the gecheles would die out.
Right. So chora it's pashut. So the question will be that the chora it's pashut, that if it wasn't a good cover, you put on a You put on a piece of paper on top of the board. He said, "I covered it." Of course, you didn't cover it. Yeah. So that, and the shore, you put a little thread around it.
People like to kick it, or they'll see it and they want to look at it. And they can say,
so
what it means, it's its way.
So l'chora, the way Rashi goes is that it's not good enough shmira, but it was not good enough for shmira. It's not good enough shmira, and you would have been chayiv probably if it would have gotten untied. I made a little exaggeration. You put a thread, you put a paper, but it means you put a kind of a shmira, but it is not enough. You would be chayiv if it would have gotten uncovered or the shore would have gotten untied. It would be chayiv because we tell you didn't do a good enough shmira. But Rashi says the chiddush over here is that it didn't happen by itself. The katan was the one who took it off. The katan untied the shore. The katan uncovered the bore, and he wants to say that I'm putter because I didn't do it. But we tell him, but you didn't cover it well enough, even though the Lamaisa didn't happen from your doing. It happened because the cotton took it off, but you didn't do a good shmira. And Mashenkin the Gecheles, wasn't about a Gecheles. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough shmira on its own. If the cotton wouldn't have messed around with it, the cotton did mess around with it. That's why he inflamed it, and it was mazik. That I'm not mechoyev for.
It's less likely that he would blow on it.
No, that's what it doesn't seem to be an issue over here. I'm not chayiv. This is what Moshe was saying. I'm not. It's not my. I didn't do it. The cotton did it. I'm not chayiv for the cotton's doings. The Shloka seems to say, I'm not chayiv for the cotton's doings.
I see, but
I'm chayiv for my own doing.
Cases,
but for this person,
the cotton did
because you didn't do a good shmira. In the last case of the Eish, you did do a good shmira. The fact you put it was only gechela. Gechela is considered shamur, even though the cotton did it. So the cotton did it. I said I didn't do it. The cotton did it. But in the first case, even though the cotton did it, but it would have happened anyway. Could have happened anyway. So you're responsible. This is Rashi. This maybe has different shot, but that's how Rashi seems to go. The translation: the shore, the derech is to break loose. The board, the derech is that the cover should fall off. But a gechela, so as you leave it, it's going to go down.
And that's all Chizkiah.
Right. And now we're going to have Rabbi Yochanan. In contrast, Rabbi Yochanan is the Bar Plukta. He's arguing. He's the blue, right? Well, Rabbi Yochanan, the Omar, Afilu Masal Shalabas Nami Pater. He goes on the mission over there by Yesh, and he says not only gechelas, Hashalebes also is Pater. That's a big chiddush. You gave a katan, Hashalebes. Hashalebes would have been mazik. Hashalebes is ready to be mazik. It also, we'll see in a second, it doesn't travel by itself. Of course, you didn't leave the shalebes on dry leaves. Then you did everything. But you left the shalebes, maybe on a candle, whatever, but it's a flame. The Rebbe says you also Pater. You don't have the Mami Vazla. Gechelas means that it goes, if you leave it, it's going to die down. The Shalebes is not dying down. And he says you also Pater if you gave it to a cotton. So that goes back to the blue case. That's going to be that the Shalebes is Pater, and the shore is going to be Chayiv, and the bor is going to be Chayiv. So we understand why the shore and the bor are Chayiv, because it's a untied shore, it's uncovered bor. Of course you're Chayiv. You're not the cotton. The cotton is not a good shmira, and the mazik is there. but he has to explain how come the shalavis should be potter.
Can you underline that?
Which one?
The line after Rabbi Yochanan is because that's what he said, or no? You just
He said Damafilum. I just underlined the name before, but
just the name.
whatever you like. But you're right. This is the Resh Lakish. We'll make him in green and him in blue. It can be consecutive, consistent. This was Resh Lakish Rishay the Chizki. He's talking the one who said the green case, and Rabbi Yochanan is the one who said the blue case, and he says that even Shalavis is potter.
Okay.
That's nice for the graphics. But Rabbi Yochanan Amar Afilu Masal Shalavis Nami potter. And what's going to be the parallel case that you're chayiv? The Chabasah Hacha B'Shom Mutor Bor Megula. The case here you're going to be potter. I'm sorry, chayiv. It's going to be when the shore is untied and the bore is uncovered. Here the point is going to be maybe that the Mishnah says when I was looking for chiddush that even if you were negligent, you're chayiv. So the chiddush is going to be that the cotton is not considered a shmira, but by the fire you are potter. Why is that? How come by the shon bar you are chayiv, and by the shalav potter? The answer is hasam tzavsa the cheresh kagorim, hacha lo tzavsa the cheresh kagorim. By the fire. What's hasam and hacha?
I think she needs a tzavsa the cheresh.
And what's over here?
No, I thought that'd be the shore and the bore. No,
hasam by eish tzavsa the cheresh kagorim, right? And that's why
you're potter. And hacha by where? By the shore. So the tzavsa Rashi has two pshatim. Has to do with the gersa. We have with the base. There's another gersa with two vavs. Rashi brings down two gersa. Tzavsa Rashi says means achizasa shel cheresh, holding on. The fact that the cheresh held on to it. He has another gersa over here just to see the Rashi. Tzavsa achizasa. Lashon tzavsa shikorin. Probably tweezers. And the other here says tzavsa with two vavs, and it means that the fact that it's the company he's together with. Either way, it means the combination of the katan together with shalavis. So the reason why you put it by fire, even though the shalavis is ready to be mazik, it's a flame, but it's not going to be mazik only if the katan is going to take it, and therefore you put it on shalavis. I probably didn't say correctly before. I'll have to go back over again.
If the combination of the fire and the heritage,
and I'm not chayiv for the combination. I'm not chayiv for it.
What's kagori?
Causes the cause of the nezek. What?
The fire itself wouldn't have done it only because there's also the heritage.
So even though it's a flame and it's not dying down, but it wouldn't be mazik the field only if the heritage comes and he takes it and he ignites it. So I didn't do that. Rabbi Yochanan says that even by the shalavis, the katan, the owner says I didn't do it. I probably have to go back. I made a mistake before.
It's like a regular, like it's contained. It's not going to go.
Right.
And the flame won't go anywhere.
Right. And even though he took it, and even though I put it next to him, and I even told him maybe watch it. I made the shidduch. Wasn't very smart. But the katan, if we would have left it alone, it wouldn't have been mazik. It wouldn't have been mazik. It wouldn't have been mazik. Only when there's a and therefore I'm not chayiv. And therefore I'm potter. Mashenki by the shore which is untied is not contained on its own, and also by the board that's uncovered. So that's Rabbi Yochanan's svara that I'm not even chayiv v'shal heves. I have to go back. I think I said wrong by Shlokish. By Shlokish, why are you potter? We also got a little bit confused over there because if the case is
because he blew on it
by the gecheles, he mamish made it, and that's why I'm not chayiv for that. But I'm not chayiv for that. And the shor kosher and the bar mechusa, why am I yes chayiv?
Because it's their way to mazik eventually.
So does that mean it's their way to be mazik? And why am I not chayiv for that? Why I am chayiv for that? I am chayiv for that.
Doesn't the machlokas come down to shalhevis?
Right.
That a shalhevis, Reish Lakish says it's always dangerous, and Yochanan says only if it's going to be there's a combination that the katan's going to move it.
So what comes out that am I chayiv for the doings of the chereshot of a katan? Rabbi Yochanan says I'm potter for the doings of the chereshot of a katan. on putter, even though it's definitely going to happen, like Bori Azeka, like you said, it's definitely going to happen, but I didn't do it. There may be this explanation. It was definitely going to happen, or it's very strongly going to happen, whatever the word Bori means.
You're talking about Rabbi Yochanan?
But yes, because Rabbi Yochanan holds that you're putter, because I
has
didn't do
before
it, even though it's Bori Azeka.
He agrees with that.
It's for sure that the setup is going to get the hezek, but what you did, you didn't.
I didn't do the. There's another ingredient, but I don't know what the difference is between this and a wind. You make a fire, and the wind is going to carry it. Here, the wind wouldn't have taken it, but the katan is going to take it, and he's right here. So why is it not a wind? Why is the katan not a wind? I don't have clarity on that. How come? How come Rabbi Yochanan can say a potter because I didn't do it? The katan did it, and it wouldn't have done anything by itself. Where's Rish Lakish hold? That you are chayiv for that. You are chayiv for the katan doing, even though the katan, without the katan, it wouldn't have gone. But I am chayiv for the actions of the katan.
No. Oh, Rish Lakish.
Rish Lakish,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Before I said that, I was just thinking back the whole time that I said such a sentence that I'm not chayiv for the doings of the katan. That's only Rabbi Yochanan. Rish Lakish holds that you are chayiv for the doings of the katan. I'm not sure what I said before. I'd have to listen to the recording. I thought I said something that you're not chayiv for the doings of the katan.
If a katan does something on its own, that's what Moshe was talking about.
Right. Well, yeah, but here you made the fire, or you gave it over to the katan. You did, and you're according to Rish Lakish.
Well, maybe that's considered a wind l'matsuya.
So is it Matsuya or not?
It's not.
It is not. Is it usual for a katan to take? Everyone should agree. Everyone should talk about that. Is it considered ruach Matsuya or not? That's the machlokes. How usual it is. He calls it bari zeka. I think maybe that Rish Lakish also will agree bari zeka, whatever those words mean. But he says, I'm not chayiv for the doings of the katan. That's after the cheresh kugor. Only because of his company or he's holding on to it made it to be mazik. I'm not chayiv for that. As far as shor kosher and bon b'chusa, how come over there you're going to be chayiv? Because the derech is to get untied by itself.
No, right now it's not being mazik, but you already set up that it's going.
That's mazik, and Rashi says the chiddush is that the ma'aseh didn't get untied by itself. The katan did it. I'm not chayiv for katan's actions.
What the katan did, but the way you left it, it was already going to be mazik. Right?
I'm not chayiv for what the katan did. Those words are getting me stuck. I'm not chayiv for what the katan would have done. Rish Lakish holds you would be chayiv for what the katan would have done. How come a gecheles shepater? I'm sorry that I mixed up. The gecheles by itself it goes down. Together with the katan, it doesn't go down.
Because when you left, the matter that you left was shamur. By the shor and the bird, what you left was not shamur. Because it's going to get open.
And even though there's a katan over there, that will make the gecheles.
So how it happened. When you left, was it shamur or was it not shamur?
Even though the katan is there. That for sure, pater. Even Shlokish is the machmir, right? In this case, Shlokish is machmir against Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, I'm not chayiv, and for Shalvav, I'm not chayiv, because he did it. And the Shlokish is machmir and say, I am chayiv for what the katan did, but not only so extreme.
Only if the way you left it, it was going to be mazik by itself.
But the gachelas, which you need the katan, even though the katan is going to do it.
Left it was shamur.
Okay.
So even though you made the shit. Right.
Okay. That's the end of that sugya. Period. So we got elaboration on the mission that said, "Kol shechavti b'shmos shati nisgo." Of course, if you mamish the negligent, of course you chayiv. So the chidushim over here, either according to Rish Lakish, who's going to be the big chidush over here? Rabbi Yochanan is going to be more pasha. That when are you going to be chayiv? By shal heves.
You're going to be putter.
Shaleves, you're going to be potter. But we're not going there. We're going on the case of the case of chayiv. We're really looking out for the age. The age only came in to show us how to look at the shor and the bor. What the Gemara really wants is very interesting how the Gemara set it up. It makes a big sugya about the fire. That's not a real sugya. Our sugya is to find the case of the shor and the bor that are chayiv of chavti b'shmiros or shati esnisko that you might have thought that I did enough. We say no, you didn't do enough. You are chayiv. So we're looking for the case of shor and bor that are chayiv. And here, Rish Lakish is who's going to be the big chiddush over here?
On the shore and the bor, I think Rish Lakish.
Rish Lakish is going to be the big chiddush.
He says even though it was covered, it's its way to get uncovered. So that's a bigger chiddush than Rabbi Yochanan says it wasn't covered at all.
Rish Lakish is more machmir by everything. That what? That he says shall have it by Isha's chayiv, and he says that shor, kosher, and warm is also chayiv. So according to Rish Lakish, you have a big chiddush. That even if it was a tied shore and a covered bor, that's called chav b'shmirasa in yichai for the nezek. According to Rabbi Yochanan, we have a smaller chiddush that the case where the shore was untied and it was going to be mazik by itself, even though you had a cotton over there, you're chayiv. Not such a big chiddush. Is that right?
In which one?
The case of how Rabbi Yochanan is going to learn this chafti b'shmirasa shati is niska by the shore and the bore, that you were negligent and that you didn't wash it well enough.
You didn't cover the bore, but you put a cut in there. That's not good.
That's not enough. That's not. But that's a small chiddush. They have uncovered bore on a loose shore. Small chiddush. According to Rish
You might think because there's a person there.
yeah, maybe you think that the cotton is good enough. Cotton's not good enough. According to Rish Lakish, it's a big chiddush in the case of shore and bore, that even though it was tied and the bore was covered, since it could get untied by it's a derech that it gets untied by itself. The shore does it, and the bore gets uncovered. So then you are chayiv, even though the ma'aser, the cotton was the one who took it off. Got it straight? Okay. New sugya. This also comes in as a bonus a little bit because we just mentioned the case that shore and bore is more chayiv than eish. Right? That's what we just said, right? Mashen came beish. Whatever you hold. We don't have to go into Bechon Shlokish anymore. Whatever you hold, the Bryce says Mashen came beish. It says that shore and bore is more chayiv than eish. So because of that, we're going to get a list of comparing three of the masikim: shore and bore and eish.
Okay.
Shore and bore, bore and shore. Shore and eish and shore, and then bore and eish and bore. The triangle. Shore, bore and eish, shore and bore, shore and eish, and then take the chumash of each one against the other one, which the Mishnah on that base started telling us a little bit. And here it's going to elaborate more. What? It said, "Well, Reish Lakish, what didn't say what it was." Okay, what?
And it was one direction.
One direction. It's going that. If I say this, I wouldn't know that. So I said a couple of chomers, and the price is going to say more. So here's where it starts. Tanu Rabbanan. Chomer, maybe it's kedai to make some. This is going to be chomer b'shor, maybe bor, chomer b'bor, maybe shor. This is going to be the first listing. Shor against bor. Second one's going to be here. I think, where's that? No, also not. Okay, so this is going to be now, maybe the little different colors if that helps. Now this is going to be Chomer B'Shor, B'Bor. That's going to be Chomer B'Bor, B'Shor. This is the subtitles we just said. You have a Chomer of Shor over Bor and Bor over Shor. First we say Shor over Bor. What's that? First of all, Shashom Shalom Asakofer. Second of all, Chai B'Shloshim Shalevin. Third of all, Nigma Dina Osabana. And fourth of all, all these things, Mashiach came before. So it has four chomers of shor more than bor. One is that if a shor killed the person, it's chayv kofer. If a shor killed an ebed, it pays shloshim shkolim. Kesav shloshim shkolim, you tend to know. Of course, shkolim doesn't mean like today. It's not 30 shekel. It means 30 pieces of silver. And the third thing is that if a shor killed and they gave a verdict that it has to be killed, so it's also to benefit from this shore, even if somebody's gonna shecht it, the Gemara talks about. Also, it's gonna be asati. And the fourth one is that it moves. It's a moving mazik. As we said, moving means that it goes to the nizik and it eats it up, or it. Here we're talking about keren. Rashi says all the shore over here means keren. We'll see in the sugya that shore doesn't mean keren shein regular, only means keren. And keren means that it goes and it goes by movement, and the bor doesn't have all these things. The bor is not chayv kofer, it's not chayv shloshim shalebet, it's not case of being aser bana, and it mazik passively. It assists over there, and the nizik comes into it. Why doesn't the bor pay kofer and shloshim shalebet? So Rashi says that a bor is not chayv on the death of a person. Shavul adam. It says in the pasuk of Nafal Shom Shorach Hamor, when it talks about a bor being mazik, it talks about ox or a donkey, and when we derive from that it's not chayv for damaging a person, for killing a person, and therefore there's not going to be a payment at all. A bar doesn't pay kofer if he killed a person. A person fell into a bar and he died. He doesn't pay anything.
Swore that he should have looked for his gun.
Could be. And also shlosh mishlev, they have the same thing. He shouldn't have fallen in, let's say. So if he died, the owner of the bar doesn't pay anything. There's no such thing as being aser bana. The bar doesn't become aser bana, and it mazik passively. So we have four chumras over shore over bor. Some of them are from the halacha, some of them are from the nature, the way it's mazik. The last one is the nature of mazik. The opposite. Chomer bebor bebishor, shavot chilas hasesel nezek. And second of all, mod mitchilasa, two chumras. One is that the boar, as soon as you made it, it's ready to damage. The shore is not ready to damage. It's not a damager as it is. It has horns. It could be mazik, but not that the shore itself is considered a damager. And mod mitchilasa means that the boar is chayiv even on the first offense, but the shore is not chayiv until the fourth offense. So those were two chumras of boar over shore.
What was Asur on
that if the shore killed somebody and the Bezdin Paskin that is chayiv skila, so it's not Asur bana. And even if they stoned it, you're not allowed to use it for dog food. And if somebody shechted it also, he can't. That's not going to help.
The carcass.
Asur bana, yeah. So the shore is really Asur bana. You're not allowed to benefit from the shore. I think once thing Madino, even if you didn't stone it yet, you're not allowed to ride on the shore. You're not allowed to use the shore to plow until they get
the boar. You can use it.
The boar never becomes asabana.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so this was the first part of the brisa. The second one, top of the page, and we get another title over here. This is going to be chomer b'shor b'eish, chomer b'eish b'shor. This is going to be contrasting shor and eish. Before we contrasted shor and boar, now we're contrasting shor and eish. And the first one is going to be chomer b'shor b'eish. What does shor have over eish? Shashom shalom kofer, v'chayv shloshim shalevet, dik madin asabana, and Masur the chayav shorter chayav asher beish. That was what we just finished doing. That's how we got into the sugi because of this last line. One of the four chumras that it says, a shor it kills a person. We said already, pays kofer, pays shloshim shalevet. A fire doesn't do that. A fire means that even if a fire kills somebody, he's not going to have these payments. What is he going to have? So Rashi says that the person would be chayiv misa maybe. The person who made the fire might be chayiv misa. It's a sugi later on. The person made a fire and it killed somebody. Might be chayiv misa. Maybe not, but the Rashi says he has chayiv misa. Rashi also talks sometimes, even though someone made a fire, maybe the person's supposed to run away. You're not supposed to stand there over there like a goylem, like the animals might. He's supposed to, maybe animals, I forgot, but he's supposed to run away. So there's not going to be a case that the fire is going to have to pay for the death of a person, not kofer, not shloshim shalevet. Also, there's no isra nikmadina asabana, same as before. The boar is not asabana, the eish doesn't become asabana, even if it was mazik, even if it killed. And here's what we talked about: that a shore is more chamor than eish as far as giving it over to a katan. What's that all about? We have two pshatim, Rish Lakish, Rav Yochanan, two different pshatim, but whatever it is, there's a chumrah of shore over eish. How about the opposite? Eish over shore. What do you have over there? She'eish mu'edes mitchilasa, that it pays on the first offense. Shore doesn't pay till the fourth offense. Vashenkim b'shore. Only one chumrah. They only found one chumrah of eish over shore. If anybody has any more suggestions, there'll be a price. It doesn't say so. And the next case, the third case, and final one is going to be chomer be'eish the boar. See, this is the close. And what is it? Really, it is good to think about it. I'm not thinking too much, but to think of anything else we might have thought of. Chomer boar be'eish.
That's one of the things we just said.
We had chomer be. What do you mean?
Like
so the boar's going to. So what are you going to say? But which one's are you going to say?
The boar.
Yeah, what should I say? You can't say kofer because boar is also not chayiv kofer. You can't say. Now we're doing eish against boar, right? So you don't have these kofer.
Homer be'eish. I'm sorry, I was looking at the green. Homer be'eish mi bubor. Is that what you're asking? You want to know what's the Homer be'eish?
No, now the Gemara wants to do boar over eish, then I'll do eish over boar.
Yeah, okay. So boar over eish, I said so for sure. The one is going to be like the shore. It's going to be high when you give it to a show to cut.
It should say that. It should say that.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it say it? It's not going to say it. He's saying the whole reason why.
Show to the cut and chayav. Masheka, yeah, the first one.
Oh, does have it? It does have it. Okay, good.
Or it's the second one. Is that the second one?
No, you're good. You said it right. You said it good. That the chumrah bar beish, you're going to say same as shor beish. And there it is. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So there are two. So what's the chumrah of bor v'eish? So it has two things. First of all, tchilas shesel nezek means as soon as you made it, is ready to damage her. The bor is ready to, it's ready to damage, just waiting for its victim. And eish is not like that. Yeah, eish has to go and then to become mazik. And Moshe l'chayshot tivakot, and the same thing that we said by shore. Whatever the pshat is, according to Chizkiah, according to Rabbi Yochanan, that he's going to be more high for the bor than he is for the fire. So those are two chumras of bor over eish. How about eish over bor? Shah eish dark alei lechol hazik, umedes lechol bein davar roila, bein davar she'en roila, ma she'en kein bebor. That's the end of the brayso. The translation is that the fire moves, and also it's chayiv if it consumes something which is not appropriate for it. That's what the words. That it's chayiv even though she'en roila. That it's not going to be so clear what that means. But the words mean that a eish is chayiv even if it consumes something which is not appropriate. A bor is not chayiv if it damage something which is not appropriate to what? To fall into a bor.
What does that mean? Like Haman? What does that mean?
Okay, that's what the Gemara is going to do. Why do you say Caleb? You're right. That's one of the Gemara's choices, that Caleb is not appropriate to fall into a bor. What does it mean it's not appropriate? You're not chayiv for it, or it can't fall on itself. It has to be that something else brought it. But that's called that it's not, I don't know why it'd be called that it's not appropriate. But the Gemara is going to think, like you said, that it means to be Caleb. That's the end of the brisa. We can compare all three to each other. The reason why it came in is because of this thing, like we said, shor and bor is more chayiv than ish. That's why it came in. Once we have it, we're going to analyze it. But listen, chomer b'shor and b'bor, this was the first thing. Back to the beginning of the sugya and the first case. And let's ask Kashas over here. But listen, chomer b'shor and b'bor. This was the first case, right?
We didn't have this one.
Sure, no, yeah, we had that. We had the first one was shor b'bor. Here it is.
Oh, so now they're going to ask why we didn't mention something?
Right, we only had four. We only had four. So you can have a 50.
Why not add more?
Add more.
Okay.
Is that so? I said before that we should think ourselves. If you have any more, yes, the kasha. Tomorrow's kashas. That there's more than the four that it says shor b'bor.
Okay.
That's going to be the discussion. But listening, chomer b'shor b'bor, sha'ashor chayiv was a kalim. Talk about kalim. If a shor damages kalim, it's chayiv. Vashen came b'bor. That if a bor damages kalim, you potter, which you call in a roila at the end of the sugya maybe. But let's see. So this is the most kasha. The Gemara answers, Hamani. Certain Tana talking. Hamani Abiyudi the Mechayiv Aliski Kalim b'bor. We have to say that it goes according to Abiyudi that Chayiv says that bor is Chayiv in Kalim, which we mentioned before about that pay over there. We mentioned this Mandi Amar that he holds Kalim bor is Chayiv in Kalim. He must say, or else there's a kasha. Why doesn't it say that shor is more Chayiv than bor? But the Gemara says, yeah, but not.
Say he's a yachid, so
it's okay.
He's the only one with that opinion.
Yeah, but we'll say the brisa is he's talking. He's the author of this brisa. Doesn't bother the Gemara. No choice. You have to say that's Abiyudi. But the Gemara now asks the kasha that Lev Yaakov explained that when I said before, Chomer be'esh b'bor, that it said it's even chai for davar she'en roila. Lev Yaakov said that means kalim. What's not roy for a bor? So Lev Yaakov mentioned the possibility that it means kalim. And if it says kalim, if it's Yehuda, so he holds that as chai. Doesn't make sense. That's the most kasha. Yehuda ema sefer, and it brings down the whole sefer. It didn't have to be so long. Chomer be'esh b'bor, sha'esh dakal lechol hazik, umod lechol bein davar roila, bein davar she'en roila. Mashen came b'bor. That's what it says. That bor is going to be potter and davar she'en roila. What's the davar roila? What does that mean? Ma'iniyu, eitzim, by fire. Go to the fire pot. And davar she'en roila ma'iniyu, kalim. And that's why eish is chayiv even on kalim. Means you might think eish is only chayiv if you burn somebody's firewood. But if you burn somebody's table or whatever, a chair, so you might think you potter. No, eish is chayiv on kalim. And Mashen came b'bor that says bor is potter on kalim. But if you say that the Buddha is the Tana of our brisa, so he couldn't say that Eish is more chayiv than bor as far as kalim, because Yos kalim was also chayiv.
I have a side question. They mentioned kalim here for Eish.
Right.
But I guess I got from some other learning that like a near or scorching the near or scorching stones, it's also damage that's not.
That's right. So
we had
before. Right, we had before. The Gemara going to say that.
Okay.
But the Gemara at this point thinks, like you said initially, that the ein roy b'bor, ein roy for Eish is going to be kalim, and the ein that's the right. So the Gemara is going to say like you said. So it's kasha and bor. If you say the Mishnah doesn't say bor because it's Rabbi Yehuda, so then it shouldn't have said it in the sefer, and it does say it if you say that's the pshat in ein roy. So the Gemara goes back to what we thought that Rabbana, you're right. You can't say it's Abuda. At the end of the Mishnah, end of the Brisa shows Abuda is not the author over here. The Rabbanan are talking that say the Kalim are potter on bor.
Mhm.
So the question was, why doesn't it say that shore over bor?
Why didn't it add? No, why didn't it add?
Kalim. That it could have said shore over bor, chumrah of shore more than bor. That's high shore, high in Kalim. Bor is
Yeah,
potter on Kalim.
it listed 4 and it only missed 1. That's a problem.
Oh, we don't know your answer yet. You're already ahead. You're saying that I left out one. It's not an exhaustive list, but the Gemara here the Gemara is going to say.
No, if it's not an exhaustive list, it has to be more than 1.
Well, you're ahead of us. You're ahead of us. First, you have to say that I left it out. Then you can ask, why did you leave it out? I left out one. First, the Gemara says that you only say 4. Why? Why not? Excuse me. Why not? Why not say a 5th one? The answer is Tana Bashir. Lolam Rabbani with Tana Bashir. Left out. You're right. It could have been it also. There's another Chumrah. It's very interesting. The whole thing of Kalim that Boaz Potter. So am I saying Kalim? Yeah, the kasha was Kalim, right? The kasha was Kalim, right? That was a kasha. And the Maisa does say Kalim, Boaz Potter and Kalim when it says the last case. When it says the last case of a Shova Bor, it says Kalim. No, I'm saying wrong. Yes, I'm saying right. I'm saying right. The Gemara is going now that when it says Ein Roila by Eish.
Eish over bor.
Eish of a bor. This last Chama Beish with bor, we said it's high for Dov Sheni Roila, Eish is high, Dov Sheni Roila.
Which would be
Kalim. So the Brisa is thinking about Kalim and it says Eish over bor. When it said shore over bor, it also could have said that.
Yeah.
And why it left it out?
Why they left?
It's not nice. I mean, if you leave out something, but you didn't leave it out in the end. This thing you didn't leave out. When I talked about Eish over bor, you didn't mention it. So it's not such a neat thing to say it left it out. If we leave out something we didn't speak about, we're here on the page. Little cash, you know. Okay, but that's what the Gemara is saying. Lo lam Rabbanan left it out.
Such a long list.
Okay, but I left it out. But then, like the principle that Levi Yaakov said, you can't just leave out one thing. If it's too close to being exhaustive, you don't just leave it out. My share, the high share. What else did it leave out? The answer is shir tamun. It left out also a chumrah of that it could have said. Not in the case of shor and bor. Usually, you might think in that category leave out. No, shir tamun. What does shir tamun mean? That tamun is potter on eish. Eish is potter on tamun. And what else is chayiv? Everything else is chayiv on tamun. So when it spoke about the chumras of shore over eish or bor over eish, it could have spoken about tamun, and doesn't say it. So you see, it left it out. It doesn't mind to leave out some things.
But it left out 2 different things.
Right, in 2 different categories.
2 different categories.
That's also good enough. You see, I'm not saying
That's
exhaustive list. That's what you see over here. That is, since there is some case I'm leaving out, so you see, I'm not being exhaustive.
And the fact that you mentioned Kalim later, that's not.
That doesn't bother me. That just bothered me as I'm saying it. It was started to bother me. Even is saying another teretz. To the original kasha, why doesn't it? We're still in this kasha. Why doesn't it say Kalim? Short of a bar. Why doesn't it say Kalim? The answer is going to be.
So Iboy Sema means that really the first answer it was sort of
not
so good.
Not that. I don't think. If you want, I can say. If you want, I will say. If you want, I can say another teretz. I don't know if it means because the first one is not such a good teretz.
What's the terminology for that?
When
there's a certain time of terminology where you say, I give an answer and you say, or you can take this.
Because the first one's not so good.
Yeah.
Ve'im nafshach lomar. In the Brisa, in the Lashon of Brisa, it says, if you have a kasha, then I'll tell you another teretz. Or it says sometimes va'omer. Many psukim says why is one not good enough? Because there's a problem with it. I'm not sure if Iboy Sema goes under that cloud. Iboy Sema, the kasha was, why doesn't it say Kalim? And we tried to say Rav Yehuda didn't work. So we went back to Rabbanan and I left out some. So other Rav Yehuda, you could say that the price is Rav Yehuda, that's why it doesn't say shore over bor, because Rav Yehuda, he holds that bor is also chayv in Kalim. So, but the kasha was by H, it does say it. Bor is potter. It doesn't mean Kalim. Kalim Yechayev. Like Yaakov said. That's the pshat of Ben Roy that the fire could what's the word? Singed. It's singed, either licked. It's a plowed field, or it singed the stones. So that's called Ein Roila, and Eish is chayiv for that. Even though it's not the regular way to be mazik, fire doesn't consume stones, but to singe it is not the regular way of being of consuming, but it's still chayiv. And bor is potter on what? Bor is potter on the similar thing. So just to say, Rashi says because it never is going to happen that the stone is going to get falling into the bore. The stone doesn't get damaged by a bore. Of course, it could break. What? It could break. It's not going to get singed. What do you say? It's not the regular way of being mazik. The fire is not the regular way of being mazik by singeing, and the bore, if it breaks, it is going to be chayiv. If it didn't break, just it got bruised, let's say, or something like that,
A stone.
it's also going to be
chayiv. A stone is not a cleave.
It says there is no.
It doesn't happen. It can't happen. Why can't it happen? Where's the Rashi? Went too far. Here's Rashi. Rashi says that, and not only this thing about singeing, the bore can't damage karka. Why can't it damage karka? Because it doesn't fall in.
What's that? A stone?
The stone, right? The similar case, the parallel case of singeing a stone does not apply to a bore. Taisa says it means because lo shayich behezik near ba'avanim. Why not?
It just falls in.
It doesn't get
damaged. Doesn't get damaged.
It can break. It can break. You had a brick and it broke.
That's a kalim already, like. I don't know how big stone.
So bore's chayvin kalim. We're going to Abuda. Abuda's chayvin kalim.
But that wouldn't be considered. That's not the equivalent to sitzich has a karka. That's not what we mean when we say it has a karka.
What do we mean?
Okay, so a stone. So then the stone is like a cleave,
And what is the case of karka?
He could go out and burn the field and make that it should be not good anymore.
And the bore doesn't do that to karka. Why? Because the karka, what's going to happen? That the bag of sand fell into it. Nothing happened.
No.
What's going to be the case? It doesn't fall in. It doesn't fall in.
It doesn't go out.
The karka doesn't fall in.
Doesn't go out to nothing.
So it has to. It's passive, and passively you're not going to be able to be mazik karka. Tais says not a pshat, but that's what Rashi seems to say. What Tais says the pshat is that it doesn't usually end with gilush atazik eshni. It doesn't. That's not the. Usually it doesn't happen. What does that mean? That usually the fire is not going to singe the stones, or it always happens.
It'd have to be a big fire for that to happen.
Okay, maybe that's the pshat. And a bore, even if it's mazik in a way that's not the norm, if it's mazik in a way that's not the norm, but it's going to be potter. Taisa says that a bore does usually kill by 10 tefachim, less than 10 tefachim, and if it does, you are potter. You are potter, right?
In that word that was right before Nero. Remember, I showed you a word maybe last week about you said it was misspelled because it should have been a chet.
Right,
is that
No, yeah, that wasn't the word. The misspell over there was about
rubbing
his
back.
Right, a different word.
That's a different word.
Right, this word they translate more like licking.
Like licking.
I'm not sure over there.
Also, here it's not burning. I think it's. I'm not sure.
As far as what?
What happened to the near?
Whatever you have,
he has to plow it or something, right?
Okay.
But he didn't lose the.
Because that's not the point of the Gemara as much as that's not the regular way that it damages it. The fact that it doesn't lose the whole field is, I think, is not the point. Maybe it is 6 chavan if it got singed.
What's the Metzias?
What's the Metzias? What happens when a fire goes on the field? We can look up.
The heat of the fire was so big that somewhere else it singed some other field.
No, it means that the
fire did go on.
What damage did it do to the field?
Oh, you mean there was no wheat to burn, but it still did.
The plowed field, right? You have to look up on the Google over there what happens to a plowed field that gets burned. What happens to it? Okay, it's the 12:05. I don't want to keep people on Friday, but there's a lot more to go. We didn't do.
What is this? Good.
Yeah, we have a lot to go. But okay, as far as we get to. We can go to we'll do Shabbos afternoon 3 o'clock. We're with 3 o'clock. Okay, so we're falling a little bit more behind.
3 o'clock. Okay.
Okay.
But this is Yudam and Alf.
It's Yudam and Alf. Yeah, that's the check over here. Yudam and Alf. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's go, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good Shabbos. Dr. Fine, Ari.
Thank you very much.